There was once a man in London who received a letter that changed everything he believed about how the world works. The envelope bore no return address, only his name written in elegant script. Inside, a legal document informed him that a wealthy stranger had bequeathed him a considerable sum of money. The deceased had never met him, never spoken to him, yet had left explicit instructions that this particular man should inherit a portion of his estate. The bewildered recipient searched for connections, for reasons, for some logical explanation. He found none. What he discovered instead, through careful inquiry, was far more extraordinary. For months before his death, the benefactor had been practicing something he called the silent congratulations. Every morning he would sit quietly and congratulate people he had never met for successes they had never achieved, for joys they had never experienced, for abundance they had never possessed. He would feel genuine happiness for strangers, sending waves of celebration into the invisible realm that surrounds us all. The man who received this unexpected gift had been one of hundreds in the benefactor's daily practice. Yet somehow, through the mysterious workings of consciousness itself, he had become a magnet for the very thing the old gentleman had been silently celebrating. This is not a fairy tale. This is the forgotten science of assumption made manifest through the power of feeling. What you are about to discover will challenge everything you think you know about cause and effect, about giving and receiving, about the very nature of reality itself. The technique that wealthy gentleman practiced is older than recorded history, yet more relevant today than ever before. It operates on a principle so simple that the rational mind rejects it, yet so profound that it can reshape your entire experience of life. Most people Leave that to receive gifts. You must somehow earn them, deserve them, or be lucky enough to stumble upon them. They live in a world of external causes, waiting for circumstances to align in their favor. But what if the very opposite were true? What if the secret to receiving unexpected gifts lay not in what you do in the outer world, but in what you assume and feel in the secret chambers of your imagination? The silent congratulations technique operates on the understanding that consciousness is the only reality, and that what you persistently assume to be true about others becomes true about yourself. When you congratulate another in the silence of your mind, you are not merely being generous with your thoughts, you are actually assuming the state of one who has reason to congratulate, one who recognizes abundance, one who expects good fortune. An assumption, when accompanied by the feeling of its reality, hardens into fact. This is why the old gentleman received wealth before he gave it away. This is why congratulating others silently draws gifts to you like metal filings to a magnet. Each time you feel genuine joy for someone else's good fortune, you are aligning with the feeling of abundance. Each time you celebrate what you imagine for others, you are reshaping your own reality to match these celebrations. As this understanding deepens, the distinction between giver and receiver begins to dissolve. You realize that when you congratulate another, you are the one receiving the gift of alignment with abundance consciousness. When you celebrate someone else's success, you are the one who benefits from embodying the feeling of celebration. When you assume good fortune for others, you are the one who transforms into someone for whom good fortune is natural and expected. Now comes the moment of choice that determines whether this knowledge remains merely interesting information or becomes a transforming power in your life. Understanding the principle is not enough. Reading about the technique will not change your circumstances. Only the actual practice, applied consistently with genuine feeling, can bridge the gap between where you are and where you wish to be. The challenge is simple yet profound. For the next 30 days, practice silent congratulations daily. Choose at least 3 people each day, whether known to you or complete strangers, and congratulate them sincerely for success, abundance, joy, or opportunity that you imagine for them. Feel genuine celebration for their imagined good fortune. Experience real happiness for their assumed achievements. Let waves of congratulation flow through you as if their success were already accomplished fact. But here is the crucial element that separates casual practice from transformative experience. You must feel these congratulations as genuine responses to real occurrences. Your subconscious mind must believe that you are celebrating actual achievements, not imaginary ones. The feeling must be as real and visceral as if you were congratulating them face to face for something wonderful that had just happened to them. As you practice this discipline, pay attention not just to the external gifts and opportunities that begin to appear, but to the internal transformation that occurs. Notice how your general outlook begins to shift. Observe how your expectations change. Watch as your natural response to others moves from comparison or judgment to genuine appreciation and celebration. The promise of this practice is not merely that you will receive unexpected gifts, though you certainly will. The deeper promise is that you will discover yourself to be the kind of person who naturally attracts gifts, opportunities, and abundance. You will embody the consciousness of one who lives in a world where celebration is warranted, where good fortune flows freely, where the unexpected gift is actually the expected norm. The ultimate gift that awaits you through this practice is the recognition of your own nature as the consciousness in which all gifts appear. You will discover that you are not a separate individual trying to get something from a reluctant universe, but the very awareness in which all giving and receiving takes place. You are both the one who congratulates and the one who is congratulated, both the giver of gifts and the receiver of them. This recognition transforms everything. Fear dissolves when you realize you are the consciousness that appears as all circumstances. Lack becomes impossible when you understand that you are the awareness in which all abundance exists. Separation ends when you recognize that others are not different from you, but different expressions of the same infinite consciousness that you are. In congratulating the world, you congratulate yourself into a new reality. In celebrating others' success, you celebrate your own infinite nature. In assuming good fortune for everyone you encounter, you assume your rightful place as the consciousness in which all fortune appears. The ancient secret stands revealed. There is no separation between self and other, no competition for limited resources, no need to earn what is naturally yours by virtue of your true identity as consciousness itself. The gifts you thought you were giving to others were actually the gifts you were giving to yourself. The congratulations you offered silently were actually the recognition of your own abundant nature. This is the final revelation, the ultimate understanding toward which all spiritual practice points. You are the very thing you have been seeking. You are the abundance you have been pursuing. You are the consciousness in which all gifts appear and disappear, the awareness in which all congratulations arise and dissolve, the infinite being playing the temporary game of limitation and expansion. Practice the silent congratulations technique not as a method for getting what you want, but as a way of remembering what you are. Use it not to change your circumstances, but to recognize the power that appears as all circumstances. Let it reveal to you the truth that has always been true. Why? You are consciousness itself, and in consciousness, all things are possible, all gifts are available, and all congratulations are ultimately self-congratulations in the grand theater of infinite awareness expressing itself as the magnificent drama of your life. You become what you assume, and when you assume that others deserve celebration, you unconsciously place yourself in the state of one who lives in a world where celebration is the natural order of things. The world of ancient wisdom knew this secret well. In the mystery schools of Egypt, Greece, and the East, initiates were taught that thought and feeling create reality, not the other way around. They understood that consciousness is not produced by the brain, but that the brain is produced by consciousness. They knew that what appears as the external world is actually the projection of internal states, made visible and tangible through the power of assumption. These teachings were never meant for the masses. They were preserved in symbols, in myths, in stories that would protect the truth from those who might misuse it. The practice of blessing others silently, of congratulating them for achievements not yet manifest in the physical realm, was one of the most closely guarded secrets. It was understood that this practice would not only benefit those being blessed, but would transform the one doing the blessing into the very thing they were celebrating in others. Consider the ancient understanding of the law of correspondence. As above, so below, as within, so without. When you congratulate another silently, you are operating from the assumption that good things happen, that people succeed, that abundance is the natural state. This assumption, held steadily in consciousness, must reproduce itself in your experience. You cannot consistently assume something about your world without becoming a part of that assumption. The mystics knew that blessing others was the fastest way to bless yourself, not because of some external karmic law, but because of the nature of consciousness itself. When you feel genuine joy for another's success, even if that success exists only in our imagination, you align yourself with the feeling of success. And feeling is the secret. Feeling is the fertile soil in which all manifestation takes root. This ancient wisdom was passed down through generations of seekers, each adding their own understanding to the practice. They discovered that the more specifically and vividly they could imagine the good fortune of others, the more powerfully it would manifest in their own lives. They learned that the key was not just thinking good thoughts, but actually feeling the reality of what they were imagining for others. But somewhere along the way, this knowledge was lost to the common understanding. People began to believe that success was limited, that there was only so much good fortune to go around, that congratulating others might somehow diminish their own chances. They forgot that consciousness is infinite, that assumption creates reality, and that what you feel to be true must become true in your experience. Now, in our modern age, we have the opportunity to rediscover this ancient art. But to understand how it works, we must first grasp the fundamental nature of consciousness itself. We must understand that we live not in a physical universe that produces consciousness, but in a mental universe where consciousness produces what we call the physical world. Every thought you think sends ripples through the field of consciousness. Every feeling you feel creates a vibration that must find expression in your experience. This is not metaphor, this is the actual mechanics of how reality operates. Consciousness is substance, and thought is the sculptor that shapes this substance into the forms we experience as our world. When you silently congratulate another person, you are not sending them something external. You're assuming the state of one who lives in a world where congratulations are appropriate, where good things happen, where abundance flows freely. This assumption, when felt as real, must create corresponding circumstances in your experience. The gift you thought you were giving to another was actually the gift you were giving to yourself. Modern science is beginning to understand what the ancient mystics always knew. Quantum physics reveals that consciousness plays a fundamental role in determining physical reality. The observer effect demonstrates that the act of observation itself influences what is observed. But this is only the beginning of understanding how consciousness creates reality. The field of neuroscience has discovered mirror neurons, specialized brain cells that fire both when we perform an action and when we observe others performing the same action. When you silently congratulate someone, these mirror neurons activate as if you were actually experiencing what you are imagining for them. Your brain cannot tell the difference between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience. This neurological fact provides a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern understanding. But the mechanism goes deeper than brain chemistry. At the quantum level, everything is connected. What appears as separate objects and individuals are actually waves in the same ocean of consciousness. When you affect one part of this field through your assumptions and feelings, you affect the whole. This is why what you assume about others must eventually be reflected back to you in your own experience. The collective unconscious, that vast reservoir of shared human experience, responds to the assumptions you hold consistently. When you regularly congratulate others for success, abundance, and joy, you are programming this collective field with these assumptions. And since you are part of this field, these programmed assumptions must find expression in your individual experience. This is the science behind why the silent congratulations technique works so powerfully. It is not based on wishful thinking or positive mental attitude. It is based on the fundamental laws that govern how consciousness creates reality. When you understand these laws and work with them consciously, you can achieve results that seem miraculous to those who do not understand the principles involved. The key insight is that assumption creates reality, not the other way around. Most people assume based on what they observe in their current circumstances, but this keeps them trapped in an endless loop of creating more of what they already have. The secret is to assume first and then watch as reality reorganizes itself to match your assumption. When you silently congratulate others, you are assuming that you live in a world where congratulations are warranted, where good things happen regularly, where abundance is the natural state. This assumption, when held consistently and with feeling, must become your reality. The gifts that come to you through this practice are not rewards for being generous with your thoughts. They are the natural result of assuming and feeling yourself into the state where such gifts are normal and expected. The technique works because consciousness is the substance of all things, and assumption mixed with feeling is the power that molds this substance into form. When you congratulate others silently, you are not changing them, you are changing yourself. You are assuming the identity of one who recognizes abundance everywhere, and this new identity must express itself in your experience as the very abundance you have been recognizing in others. Understanding the principle is one thing, practicing it effectively is another entirely. The silent congratulations technique requires more than intellectual knowledge. It demands that you enter into the feeling of genuine celebration for others, even when your rational mind insists there is nothing yet to celebrate. This is where the real work begins, where theory transforms into living experience. The practice itself is deceptively simple, yet profound in its implications. You begin by selecting someone, either known to you or a complete stranger. It matters not whether they are currently experiencing success or struggle, wealth or poverty, joy or sorrow. What matters is your willingness to assume that they deserve congratulation, that they are worthy of celebration, that good fortune is naturally theirs. Close your eyes and see this person clearly in your mind's eye. Now comes the crucial moment. You must congratulate them not for what they have, but for what you assume they are about to receive. Feel genuine joy for their impending success. Experience real happiness for their coming abundance. Let waves of celebration flow through you as if their good fortune were already an accomplished fact. The secret lies not in the congratulating itself, but in the feeling that accompanies it. You must actually feel as though you are celebrating something wonderful that has happened to them. This feeling must be real, must be visceral, must be as genuine as if you were congratulating them face to face for an actual achievement. Your subconscious mind responds only to the feeling, never to the mere words or images. As you practice this feeling of celebration, something remarkable begins to happen within your own consciousness. You start to embody the state of one who has reason to congratulate, one who recognizes abundance, one who expects good things to happen. This is the psychological alchemy at work. In congratulating another, you transform yourself into the kind of person who lives in a world where congratulations are warranted. But the technique goes deeper than single instances of congratulation. The real power emerges when you create what might be called an inner laboratory of celebration. Throughout your day, as you encounter people either in person or in your imagination, you practice silently congratulating them for successes they have not yet achieved, for breakthroughs they have not yet experienced, for gifts they have not yet received. The businessman struggling with his company receives your silent congratulations for the major contract he is about to secure. The single mother working 2 jobs receives your celebration for the unexpected assistance that is coming her way. The elderly person walking slowly down the street receives your joy for the renewed vitality that is entering their experience. In each case, you are not being charitable with your thoughts. You are actually assuming the reality of living in a world where such good fortune is commonplace and expected. 3 documented cases illustrate the power of this practice when applied with consistency and genuine feeling. A woman in New York began practicing silent congratulations during her daily commute, celebrating strangers on the subway for various forms of good fortune she imagined for them. Within 6 weeks, she received an unexpected promotion at work, followed by a surprise inheritance from a distant relative she had never met. But more significantly, she began to notice that opportunities seemed to present themselves wherever she went, as if the universe were conspiring to give her reasons to celebrate her own life. A man in London practiced congratulating his business competitors for their success. Despite his initial resistance to the idea, he would imagine them securing major contracts, expanding their operations, achieving recognition in their field. The practice felt counterintuitive, even painful at first, as his competitive nature rebelled against celebrating rivals. Yet within 3 months, his own business experienced unprecedented growth. New clients seemed to appear from nowhere, and partnerships developed that he had never actively pursued. He realized that in congratulating his competitors, he had assumed the identity of someone operating in an abundant marketplace where success was available to all. A teacher in a small town began silently congratulating her students for academic achievements they had not yet attained, for personal breakthroughs they had not yet experienced, for bright futures she imagined for them. The practice transformed not only her classroom atmosphere, but her own life circumstances. She received an unexpected offer to join a prestigious educational program, was awarded a grant she had never applied for, and found herself becoming the kind of teacher who naturally attracted resources and opportunities for both herself and her students. In each case, the practitioners discovered that they could not consistently congratulate others without becoming worthy of congratulation themselves. They could not persistently celebrate abundance in others without abundance flowing into their own experience. They could not regularly feel joy for the success of others without success becoming a natural part of their own reality. Yet despite its simplicity and effectiveness, the silent congratulations technique encounters fierce resistance from within. The rational mind rebels against the practice, insisting that it makes no logical sense. How can celebrating something that does not yet exist have any effect on physical reality? How can congratulating strangers possibly result in gifts for yourself? The intellectual mind demands proof, evidence, logical explanations that satisfy its need for cause and effect relationships. This resistance runs deeper than mere skepticism. It emerges from the very structure of ego consciousness, which sees itself as separate from others and in competition with them for limited resources. The ego believes that congratulating others somehow diminishes your own chances for success, that celebrating their good fortune might somehow use up the available supply of good fortune in the universe. Cultural conditioning reinforces this resistance at every turn. From childhood, most people are programmed with scarcity thinking, with the belief that there is only so much success, wealth, happiness, and opportunity to go around. This programming creates a competitive mindset that sees others' gain as your loss, that views congratulating competitors as naive or self-defeating. The educational system, the business world, and even family dynamics often reinforce the idea that life is a zero-sum game, where one person's success necessarily means another person's failure. This competitive programming runs so deep that the very idea of genuinely celebrating others' success can trigger anxiety, jealousy, or resentment. The mind insists that you should be working for your own success, not wasting time and energy congratulating others for theirs. Religious and spiritual traditions, while often preaching love and generosity, sometimes inadvertently reinforce scarcity thinking through concepts of unworthiness, sacrifice, and the idea that material success is somehow spiritually suspect. This creates internal conflict when attempting to practice techniques that involve assuming abundance and celebrating worldly success. The resistance also manifests as doubt about your own worthiness to receive unexpected gifts. Deep programming suggests that good things must be earned through hard work, that receiving without apparent giving is somehow wrong or suspicious. The idea that you could attract gifts simply by changing your internal state challenges fundamental beliefs about how the world works. But this resistance, while formidable, is not insurmountable. It is simply the old programming defending itself against a new way of being. Understanding that the resistance is natural and expected helps you move through it rather than being stopped by it. The key is to recognize that the resistance itself proves the power of what you are attempting to do. The ego fights hardest against the practices that threaten its illusion of separation and scarcity most directly. The breakthrough comes when you realize that consciousness is not bound by the limitations the ego imagines. In consciousness, there is no separation between self and other, no competition for limited resources, no need to earn what is naturally yours. The silent congratulations technique works precisely because it helps you step out of ego consciousness and into the awareness of your true nature as consciousness itself. In our current digital age, the opportunities for practicing silent congratulations have multiplied exponentially. Social media platforms present endless streams of people to congratulate silently. As you scroll through feeds showing others' achievements, travels, celebrations, and milestones, instead of comparing or judging, you can use each image as an opportunity to practice genuine celebration for their success and to assume even greater success for them in the future. The woman posting about her new job receives your silent congratulations for the promotion that is coming next. The man sharing photos of his vacation receives your celebration for the even more wonderful experiences awaiting him. The couple announcing their engagement receives your joy for the abundant love that will continue to flow through their relationship. In each case, you are not simply being kind, you are actively reshaping your own consciousness to align with abundance and celebration. Digital platforms also provide opportunities to practice with people you will never meet, whose lives you know nothing about beyond a single post or image. This anonymity can actually make the practice easier, as personal judgments and comparisons are less likely to interfere. You can congratulate a complete stranger for successes you imagine for them without the complications that might arise with people you know personally. The business world, often seen as the epitome of competitive thinking, actually demonstrates the principles behind silent congratulations in ways most people never recognize. Companies that succeed long-term often develop what might be called a consciousness of abundance that naturally attracts opportunities, partnerships, and resources. They operate from the assumption that there is enough success for everyone, that celebrating industry achievements creates a rising tide that lifts all boats. Forward-thinking organizations encourage employees to celebrate each other's achievements, recognizing that this practice creates a culture where achievement becomes expected and normal. Team members who genuinely congratulate colleagues for their successes find themselves naturally included in more opportunities, more projects, more chances for advancement. They become the kind of people others want to work with, support, and recommend for new opportunities. The network effect of celebration compounds over time. When you consistently celebrate others' successes, you develop a reputation as someone who recognizes and appreciates achievement. This makes you attractive to successful people who naturally gravitate toward those who understand and celebrate success. You become part of networks where good fortune circulates freely, where opportunities are shared generously, where abundance is the assumed state. Modern practitioners of the silent congratulations technique report results that would have seemed impossible under the old paradigm of competitive scarcity. A software developer who began silently congratulating tech industry leaders for their innovations found himself invited to exclusive conferences he had never applied to attend. A small business owner who practiced celebrating her competitors' successes discovered that referrals began flowing to her from unexpected sources. An artist who congratulated other creators for their breakthrough achievements found galleries and collectors reaching out to her with opportunities she had never pursued. These results arise not through external manipulation or networking strategies, but through the fundamental transformation that occurs when you shift from scarcity consciousness to abundance consciousness. When you consistently assume that good things happen, that success is natural, that gifts and opportunities flow freely, your experience must reorganize itself to match these assumptions. The technique works in the digital age because the principles of consciousness remain constant regardless of the medium through which they operate. Whether you are congratulating someone face-to-face or silently celebrating a stranger's social media post, the effect on your own consciousness is the same. You are assuming the state of one who recognizes abundance, who expects good fortune, who lives in a world where celebration is warranted. What makes the practice particularly powerful in our interconnected world is the sheer volume of opportunities it provides. Every day, I encounter hundreds or even thousands of people through various digital channels. Each encounter becomes a chance to practice assumption, to embody celebration, to align yourself with the consciousness of abundance. The cumulative effect of this consistent practice transforms not just isolated moments, but your entire way of being in the world. Yet the true power of silent congratulations extends far beyond the material gifts and opportunities that flow from its practice. As you continue to congratulate others consistently, you begin to notice subtler but more profound changes occurring within your own consciousness. The practice itself becomes a doorway into deeper mysteries, revealing truths about the nature of identity, reality, and your own divine inheritance. The most significant transformation is not in what you receive, but in who you become. When you spend your days congratulating others for their success, abundance, and joy, you gradually embody the consciousness of one who lives in a world where these things are natural and expected. You begin to carry yourself differently, to speak differently, to make decisions from a place of assumed abundance rather than feared scarcity. This identity shift happens so gradually that you may not notice it at first. But others will. People begin to respond to you differently, as if they sense something has changed in your fundamental nature. You develop what might be called a magnetism of expectation, an unconscious assumption that good things naturally flow toward you. This assumption, held steadily in consciousness, must manifest as corresponding experiences in your world. The spiritual gifts that emerge from this practice are often more valuable than any material blessing. Jealousy begins to dissolve as you discover the joy of genuinely celebrating others' success. Resentment fades as you realize that their gain does not diminish your potential. Fear of lack disappears as you consistently assume abundance not just for yourself, but for everyone you encounter. Compassion deepens naturally when you spend time imagining good fortune for others. You begin to see people not as competitors or threats, but as fellow expressions of the same consciousness that you are. This shift in perception changes everything about how you move through the world, how you relate to others, and how you understand your own place in the grand scheme of existence. The practice reveals that you live not in a physical universe that sometimes responds to consciousness, but in a mental universe where consciousness is the only reality. Everything you perceive as external, solid, and separate is actually the projection of consciousness appearing as form. When you congratulate another, you are not sending something across space to a separate person. You are actually congratulating another aspect of your own infinite self, and this congratulation must return to you as the gifts and opportunities you experience. This understanding transforms the entire practice from a technique for getting what you want into a recognition of what you already are. You are not a limited being trying to manipulate reality through mental tricks. You are consciousness itself, playing the game of forgetting and remembering your own infinite nature. The gifts that come through silent congratulations are simply consciousness recognizing itself in all its magnificent expressions. The great reversal that occurs through this practice challenges everything the rational mind believes about cause and effect. Instead of working to get what you want, you assume you already have it by celebrating it in others. Instead of competing for limited resources, you operate from the assumption that abundance is infinite and available to all. Instead of trying to change your circumstances, you change your consciousness and watch as circumstances rearrange themselves to match your new assumptions. This reversal reveals the fundamental truth that has been taught by mystics throughout history. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. You are not at the mercy of external forces, but the very power that appears as external forces. You are not separate from what you desire, but the consciousness in which all desire and all fulfillment appear. The silent congratulations technique becomes a daily reminder of this truth. Each time you congratulate another, you are practicing the art of assumption.